Hey everyone, welcome to Mohksh, where I share simple concepts and approaches on the what and the how to liberate ourselves from material desires and invoking the Guru within us through purity of body, clarity of mind, and refinement of speech. My goal is to help you achieve a constant state of mindfulness and creative energy by embracing concentrative meditation, Kundalini Awakening, mantra sadhana, and more. I wanted to start with the concept of divine time. It doesn't matter if you subscribe to any religion or ideology. What matters is how puny and minuscule our lives are in the context of time in the eyes of the universe. What is more important is to understand the esoteric underlying meaning of what I'm going to talk about rather than focusing on absolutes and its theological accuracy. So let's begin with time and space from the perspective of Sanatan Dharma, commonly known as Hinduism. Even though I'm calling Sanatan Dharma a religion, it is actually not a religion, but rather a way of life, a manner of thinking. Let's begin with the basic unit of life called Nimesha, which is the duration of a blink. 15 Nimeshas make one Kastha, 30 Kasthas, one Kala, 30 Kalas, one Muhurta, 30 Muhurtas make a day. So 30 days is a Masa, which is a month, and that equates to one day of the gods and the ancestors. 6 Masas make one Ayana, 2 Ayanas, which are solstices, in this case the summer solstice and the winter solstice, makes 1 year. So one human year is 1 day and night for the celestial beings. Uttarayana being the day and Dakshinayana being the night. 360 human years make a single divine year. So one could imagine that scale at which the universe is versus us, where we take pride in living 100 years when it would actually take at an average of 4 to 5 births each to scale up to a divine year. Keep that in mind the next time you think you have a long life. Actually, in the scale of the cosmos, it's pretty small, but there is more. There are 4 yugas. Yuga is generally used to indicate an age of time. Think of it similar to Ice Age, Stone Age, Bronze Age, and Iron Age. The first yuga is called the Krita Yuga, also known as the Satya Yuga, that lasted for about 4,800 years. And by years, it is divine years, not human years. So Krita Yuga is followed by Treta Yuga, that lasted for about 3,600 years, Dwapara Yuga, that had 2,400 divine years, and the current Yuga that we are in, the Kali Yuga, which will last for about 1,200 divine years. Now, given that 365 human years makes a divine year, the Kali Yuga will last for about 438,000 human years. As of March 2023, we are currently in 5,125th year, almost like 5,100th year of the Kali Yuga. What each yugas represent, I'll talk about them in a second. Let's move on. The total 4 yugas, which is the Krita Yuga, the Treta, the Dwapara, and the Kali Yuga, add up to 12,000 divine years. Each cycle of these 12,000 divine years, of these 4 yugas, is called a Chatur Yuga. Chatur means 4. Well, in Hindi, Chatur also means smart, but you will see in a moment we aren't that smart after all. I'm quite aware that I do have a terrible sense of humor. Anyway, 71 Chatur Yugas form a Manvantara. 14 Manvantaras form a kalpa, which means a kalpa represents 1,000 Chaturyugas. Seems like a hell lot of time, but wait for what comes next. At least from the perspective of the Sanatan Dharma, where the creator of the universe is Brahma, the sustenance of the universe is Vishnu, and the destroyer of the universe is Rudra. Let's move on. 12 million divine years is a day for Brahma. 8,000 Brahma years represents one Brahma Yuga. 1,000 Brahma Yugas represent one Brahma Savana. 3,003 Brahma Savanas is Brahma's life. Entire life of Brahma is a day of Vishnu's life, and entire Vishnu's life is a day of Shiva, also called Rudra. Just for the sake of argument, given the length of time a celestial being would live, how many lives would it take you to live a day in Brahma's life? Beyond comprehension is the answer. If you simply thought the numbers reflect the life of the universe instead of God's, still our lives would be a speck of dust compared to the scale of the universe. So the next time you feel all the discomforting things happening to you, scale out, zoom out, and you would know that in the cosmic play, we are really nothing. Not even the time it takes for a bubble to pop. Now, I did promise you that I would revisit what the yugas signify. Here goes. In the Krita Yuga, also known as Satya Yuga, which lasts for at least 4 times as long as our present age, people have at least 4 times much as righteousness as they do today. There's nothing like religion during Satya Yuga. Everyone worships by identifying the individual self with the universal soul. And that is the key word here, universal soul. Not divine soul, not God's soul, but universal soul. It represents no duality, but a uniformity of thought. During Satya Yuga, people obtain everything they need by power of will. There is no discord, no disease, and nothing to interfere with your sadhana. In Treta Yuga, 1/4 of this righteousness is lost. Sacrifices begin, and people get what they want through sacrifice. Then in Dwapara Yuga, another fourth of the righteousness disappears, and plenty of diseases and calamities arise, and so penances become necessary. People in Dwapara Yuga achieve their desires thanks to their austerities. Now, in Kali Yuga, only 1/4 of the normal amount of righteousness remains, or maybe less, considering what I'm seeing going on in the world today. Everything is in flux and always changing, and you're likely to get contrary effects from any religious rituals you perform. But the texts say that Kali Yuga is probably the best of all ages because it is the age in which everyone, regardless of caste or karma, can realize God perception. The problem is, most people are so overcome by Maya, which means illusion, that they have no desire to know God. Kali Yuga eventually develops into Ghora, and Ghora means terrible, the opposite of which is Aghora, which is light, right? So in Kali Yuga, eventually everything develops into Ghora, Kali Yuga, where things get really bad in the world. There is really no peace to be found in the Kali Yuga, according to the texts. But the wise say that moksha, which is the liberation of suffering, or liberation from suffering through rebirths, is easier to have in the Kali Yuga than any other yuga. The only way to mukti in the age of evil is bhakti. Mukti is liberation, Bhakti is devotion. So there is no liberation without devotion. There is no mukti without bhakti. Men and women have grown so petty, and their hearts are filled with such evil that worship is the only way to salvation. Indeed, no one in the Kali Yuga can find mukti for himself without God's intervention. It is told that the gods are easily pleased in the sinister yuga, in which even the smallest lamp of devotion shines so brightly in the night of the spirit that engulfs the world. Simply put, the people born in each yuga differ from those of the others. Every man born into this world is subject to the nature of the age that he is born into. Perfectly devout men are born in Krita Yuga, men fond of both wealth and religion in the Treta Yuga, those fond of wealth, worship, and sensual pleasure into the Dwapara Yuga, and men born in the Kali Yuga are hardly devout or spiritual at all, but only sensual in nature and believe exclusively in wealth and pleasure. The reason I started with the concept of yugas is to understand that our actions have a cause and effect relationship known as karma. Karma across multiple human births becomes a significant and important factor to understand why we are here and what is our true purpose in life. That is, the stages of human life in the eyes of the universe and the celestial beings. In the next episode, I'll define some important concepts to familiarize ourselves before getting into purification of mind, purification of body and speech through meditation, Kundalini, mantra sadhana, and more. I hope you're loving these episodes, and I guess it would be good karma if you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're hearing this through an audio podcast, please feel free to rate. You could reach out to me for any questions or help at the email in the description. Here's a parting thought for you. Remember, you are the Guru, and it is your responsibility to invoke the Guru in you. Let me help you to invoke the Guru in you. I'll see you in the next one.